It's a bubble. It's a glut as well.
It's in Melbourne. You can see the bubble before your eyes in the explosion of high-rise apartments, fuelled by investment that buyers advocate Catherine CASHMORE says are largely empty.
I've walked through so many buildings where there have been a large number of empty apartments, and it's clear that people are buying them and they're not interested in renting them out. And it does seem counterintuitive, but the rents, the yields in Melbourne are so low.
It's really only when you get up to this kind of height that you get a sense of just how incredible the scale of building has been, especially here in Melbourne. And the numbers are phenomenal.
Melbourne has added around 13,000 new apartments each year for the last 2 years that have lost value before anyone even turned a key in the lock.
Now, in the next 2 years, that figure is going to rise to 22,000 apartments. It's a hell of a lot in a market that's already saturated.
Take a look over there. There's your office block. And over here, these are the apartments that you can see that there's no lights on. There's only a handful of properties in here where the lights are on. And this is the evidence that's showing, really, that the lights are off and nobody's home.
I mean, that's significant because it's 8 o'clock on a Tuesday night. We're so close to the CBD of Melbourne that if anyone was going to be home, they'd be off that tram now. But they're not. It's basically empty.
That's right. These properties are not fully occupied. They are vacant.
It wasn't supposed to be this way. The state government's planning blueprints for both Sydney and Melbourne assumed that empty nesters would downsize into apartments and leave their houses in the suburbs behind, opening them up for young home buyers. But the empty nesters aren't coming.
We're still building units that, to be quite honest, you wouldn't put your dog in. I mean, some of these one-bedroom vertical fridges are appalling, and I couldn't imagine anything worse. That's why I'm so opposed to downsizing.
There could be lots of developers who end up being unable to sell their off-the-plan properties and going bankrupt.
I think we're in for a crunch. There's no doubt about that at all.
So we fought hard for this.
Yet still people are banging down the door to get into the market.
See what happens if you stick to your guns.
Liz Moss has just signed the paperwork on her third investment property on the outskirts of Melbourne.
Yeah, I just started my third investment property. Just signed the paperwork for it.
She now owes the bank more than $1 million.
540, 290, and I'm not really good with maths all in my head, but just over, 1.2, something like that? Does that sound about right? Altogether? Yeah.
I'll go downstairs. We'll be back in a sec. But
Thank you. Thank you for all your hard work. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Like Karen and Wayne, Liz Moss isn't a big earner.
I don't really want to just buy property for the sake of it. I have to. And the only reason I'm putting everything into property because it really is the only way for me to set something up for my future. I've worked in commission sales a lot, and so I don't have a lot of superannuation. Unless I have some sort of assets behind me, by the time I retire, I'm not going to have anything, just absolutely nothing to live on, because obviously the pensions are going and all that sort of thing.